What is shaking, everybody? Hey, I'm back with part two of this chopper seat pan cover. And if you saw part one, you saw how we did the pattern. And you heard me complaining about this compass. So right now you're going to see me going back and remarking what I just marked because the legs bent when I was holding it by the top. But anyway, we're going to go back and remark every half inch over the borderline. And that little punch I showed you there at the beginning, I think that's about a 4mm by 2mm oval punch. And you can get them fairly cheap. I bought like 5 of them on Amazon for 11 or 12 bucks. But anyway, you're going to use those to get you a nice open hole that will allow 4 or 5, possibly 6 laces to go through, because when you are punching around the edge here, now you can go around and figure the radius and figure the math out to punch the exact same amount of holes on the top piece that are going to be on the bottom piece. But see, the holes on the top piece are going to be further apart. I'd rather just punch an extra hole and go through it an extra time with the lacing when I'm up on a top corner where I have a hard bend on the leather. After you get all these marked, you're going to go ahead and punch your oval holes. I center the oval punch right on the outside center of the dot I made with the awl. Now I have previously put this top piece here on the seat pan with the bottom attached onto it and trimmed it a bit so that it was going to fit perfectly with the padding that I put on the seat, and I will show you that in another video when we start to put this on. Right here I'm just wetting the leather, giving it a nice good even coat, getting it fairly wet so it gets in there a little deep, and just smoothing it up there a bit. Then we're going to tape the back of the leather with some blue tape. This is to prevent it from stretching too much when we're tooling it, because if we didn't tape the back up like this, you would have the leather, it's kind of be like kneading pizza dough. You would just be making it bigger and bigger as you pound it in the middle. So this it'll still stretch a little bit, but this will just keep it pretty much stable. And then I'm going to give it one more quick coat of water. Let it soak in almost all the way, but not quite, because we want this plastic transfer sheet to stick. And what I do is I draw most of my pictures on a sketchbook and then take a photo with my iPad and then redraw it and refine it and Procreate, and then I print it the size that I want on transparency film, just plain old transparency film. You don't have to buy the fancy stuff, 10 sheets for $10. You get 100 sheets for 20 bucks at the office supply or something. So I do use a laser printer, and I put the ink side up, and so I can tell which lines I have already done because I've scraped the ink off of the plastic. If you were to flip it over and do it the other way, you'd be pressing that ink down into the leather, which, I don't know, it could be a cool effect, and it might not be. I think it might work as a resist on the antiquing. I don't know. I'll have to try it one day. I've opted to do these eyes without the pupils. I liked it initially. It has that retro kind of hot rod cartoony feel, but then I just thought it looked too much like a Scooby-Doo villain, so I'm gonna leave the pupils out of there. I've probably already told you in other videos, but I was a tattoo artist for over 30 years, and I've drawn a skull or a spider web in my time. So it's kind of fun to tattoo dead skin here for a while. Stropping my knife so that the edge is nice and razor sharp right before you get started, and I recommend you stop and do it a couple times in the middle as well. I'm using a ceramic blade here. I like that a lot when I'm doing some very kind of detailed stuff where I need to get in some little tiny areas and little tiny corners. You'll see I've got several different swivel knives laying around here on the table, and there's different kinds of blades in each one, and some of them I use for fine detail, and some of them I use for big bold lines, and some of them for crispy corners like this ceramic blade. And I don't really need to draw any stenciled lines for the spider web. I've drawn enough spider webs in my time, but if you feel more comfortable with that, you can put them on your transfer and go ahead and scribe them in with the stylus. All this footage is sped up. I'm not really carving and tracing as fast as it appears. I just sped the footage up about a third so that the video could be a little shorter and you can still see the technique and the order of things. Now most people just bevel toward the inside. I bevel first toward the outside, then texture it, and then bevel toward the inside. I just feel like it gives me a little bit more depth. I'm beveling down in here so I can get that septum bone looking centerpiece and get some depth on that nose. Here I'm using the ball end of the stylus to open up the lines on the spider web. You don't really need to do any heavy tooling there. This thing works great and gives it a nice bold feel. Smooths out both edges at once. And here it is, all tooled up. We'll show you how to color it and mount it in some future videos.